Live from Kennesaw. My name is Stephen Collum. I am the product manager for the Gallus One product line. And with me today is Andrew Martini. He's going to assist me with our demonstration here. But before we get started, just a little history. Heidelberg and Gallus have joined together. Gallus is over 100 years in manufacturing. We started with our label fire back in 2016 with inkjet, 7 colors plus white. And today we're presenting to you is the Gallus One, 4 colors plus white. But before we get started, just wanted to go over a few highlight points. We're running 230 feet a minute. And with that being said, we're printing here with white today with an 85% opacity. Yes, an 85% opacity. One hit on white itself. The other thing is we can run at 2 different speeds, 30 and 70 meters on the equipment itself. We're at 13 inches wide for the equipment. Some of the other highlight points that we have on the equipment, we have 2 cleaning modes. We have just a normal cleaning mode, and we also have ultrasonic mode. Why do we have 2? One we can do every 3,000 meters. The other one we do once a week, which is a deep clean on the equipment. Some of the other nice things to point out, everything that's running the equipment here with Heidelberg is from our Prinect software side. So to prepare the jobs and send them over to you, the equipment, that's all done here with Prinect. So why don't we get started? We'll start at the end of the machine. All our Gallus One come with a lift. In order to get the roll onto the equipment, we have a mirror in the back to help you align the core and get the product onto the spindle as easy as possible. On the front end, we do have a splice table here. So when your roll runs out, it's easy to cut, splice on the new roll, put your tape on, and get it prepared for the next job, or just to continue a job. But what's important is the quality as you do this job. So here we have a quality monitoring product called a double sheet detector. So once it reads that, it'll jog the machine. The table that you'll see in a minute will go down, let that substrate pass the print heads, and then the table will come back up and we go into manufacturing. Why is this important? We want to safeguard the heads as much as possible. Because on that head itself is a silicone layer, and anything that rubs against it or abrasion will create an issue with the printing heads, and then will have to be changed. So that is all a patent design, is how that table goes down and lets the paper go through. Moving forward, we also have static, and we also have corona treatment. So if you have a monofilm that you're printing and you have to put corona into the substrate itself, that can be done here. Once the paper comes through, we also have a web guide, so we can make sure that that web is going straight through the machine. Why is that important? We want to have printability from one label to the next label to the next label. Because if you bring it to a downstream die cutting situation, you don't want to make sure that's not wandering back and forth. Here, another built-in quality with the web guide itself. Now moving forward, if Andrew could open the cover, and we're explaining how everything works behind the DPU. So here, as we spoke before, we put down white first. So if you're doing any clear labels or metallic labels, you can go ahead and use the white. Here again, as we mentioned before, 85% opacity with the white. Once we lay that down, we have an LED to go ahead and just cure that ink droplet. So to put just a little bit of membrane on it from color to color. So we have one color on top of the other, and we have no spread when doing the printing with the digital inkjet heads. All the heads, I forgot to mention, are from Fuji, Dometics heads, Samba, 1200 by 1200 DPI. So once we got the white down, pin cured, we do yellow, magenta, cyan, and black, and pin cure in between. One thing I want to mention here, in the position we have now, is our cleaning unit. So we have 2 functions. We have just the normal cleaning process, where it takes about a minute and a half. It'll go and put the chemicals against the head and then vacuum everything off. So we're not purging with ink. All the materials that we use as a cleaner then ends up in this little bottle down here that you empty when it's full. And then we also have the ultrasonic cleaner, deep clean, using ultrasonic to put against the Fuji head clean it, and then it goes back. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and show you how the cleaning moves away. And the reason we've gone to this, we learned a little bit from the label fire. Moving the heads back and forth with all the controls and cables to it, didn't make sense moving that back and forth. It was easier to move the table down and bring the heads forward to the machine. So everything is always stable with the printing heads, they never have to move. So with that being said, the table should be coming up. And this is a good point right here because we have a servo drive in the front and a servo drive in the back. So always maintaining the same tension on the material if we're in the up position and down position, either for cleaning or if we do a roll change. Why is that important? Well, we want to have the tension remain so we always have a printability. We don't have to start up to get to tension and keep going. So it's a way to save material in the process. Well, now that the table is up, Andrew, if you go ahead and close the cover. So moving along, down here, as we print and do the LED cure, we have a UV lamp here on the bottom with a chilled drum. The reason we have a chilled drum, we don't want to induce more heat into the substrate as we're curing with the UV light. So it's another quality control monitoring system. And then in this area right here, we also have a camera system that we're looking for the density evenness across all the print heads for the 13 inches, as well as looking for quality control with lineouts or missing nozzles that we can correct in line on the equipment, just with the touch of a button. There's no need to cut off a piece and run it through a scanner and figure out what head is missing. It's all done with the camera system to get you up and running right away. Another nice system is inking. It's all in front of the machine, so the operator never has to go anywhere else when he's running the equipment. What's nice is every box has a 2D barcode. So I use my scanner, hit the button. That's going to tell me if that ink has expired or not. It's going to tell me it's yellow, so the operator can take the box. Yellow is here, yellow with the scanner back here. So there's no chance of making a mistake by putting the wrong color in the wrong location. What makes it easy too is the operator, all they have to do is push this two pens together here, the nozzle will pop off, the next box goes in, click it, and you're ready to go. Same for the cleaner. The cleaner is done in the same way, all controlled from the screen here. So here I can tell where my white, yellow, magenta, cyan, and black, the levels of each of the colors. So the operator can prepare while he's running the job and say, hey, you know what, yellow is getting low. Let me go ahead and get a container ready to go and put it into the machine. With that being said, if you can go to the camera. So here we're taking photos as we go along of the job being printed. So the operator can look, make sure everything is in register, what the job looks like. So we can go up and down different areas, do some quality control while it's running. Another nice feature is he could have all his jobs lined up here on the screen. And then he can determine if the next job has the same substrate, he can just click that. And once that job is being completed, he can put a white space in between and print continuously on the equipment. And the white space we'll put in there is for the downstream equipment. If they have to die cut, the operator there will know where the end of the job is. So if we come a little down here, you can see the job is being printed on the equipment. And now I just want to go and show you a couple of slides to talk about the TCO. And TCO stands for true cost of ownership. But before we get there, I got one more slide to give to you. So we have this huge ecosystem. And what I mean by ecosystem is we talked a little bit about front end. So everything driving to the machine as their information is done by us. The software is updated by us. It's all on the cloud. So every time there's an update, we push it right to the equipment. So there's no need to do updates. The serviceability, so we can do over the shoulder, log into the equipment, see how you guys are doing. If we do notice something wrong, we can call you, have a conference call and say, hey, what's happening on the equipment? How can we help you with it? The Gallus One is built on our well-known Label Master platform. So that makes it easy for us to expand things in the future if we want to add on components to the end of the equipment. And the service all comes from Heidelberg, so there's only one call. The ink is also designed by Heidelberg, so as time goes on and we develop new ink formulas, we can put those right into the machine and make it easier for the whole operation of the equipment. There's no need to call a third party and say, I'm having an issue with the ink. It's all done by us. It's only one call for us as well. So that's our entire ecosystem that we offer. If we go to the next slide, please. TCO, true cost of ownership. So we have a formula in the background where, for instance, we're going to talk about this job we ran earlier today. So in our TCO model, it's at the cost of the equipment, the space, the labor, etc. You can see those things on the screen. So what's nice about our Prenect, if we can go to the next slide, in the upper left-hand corner, we can take one label, run it through Prenect. It'll tell us the ink consumption for that one particular label per 1,000. So once we have the ink consumption, and this is all comes standard with the equipment, we can go to the next slide. We dump that into our spreadsheet, and it comes out with this little graph that you see here in front of you. So you can see as we run down the segments of number of labels, you can see how it comes down to a level point in the program. If we go to the next one, it's really a bit more important. You can also look at, does it make more sense for us to print this on a traditional flexo or digital? On this particular label, based on the ink consumption, we're at about 96,000 labels as a crossover point. So you could send us samples and say, all right, run my job, see where we are. We can put it into the database and print out a chart just like this to tell you where you are as far as this job running digitally or even on Flexo. So with that being said, can we go to the next slide? So here's a few more things that Gallus One can grow into. Like I said before, it's based on the Label Master platform, so we don't always add on to it. You could buy this today, and then down the road, we can add a Flexo unit in front. We could add a Flexo unit behind. We could add die cutting, laminating, or any other finishing option that you'd like to add to the equipment. So you're not contained into saying, hey, I got to do a forklift upgrade and get a brand new machine. We can just add those components to the equipment, take the machine down, break the rewinder, put it to the end, and add those components into it. I like to call it, it's our Lego system. We can build what you want. With that being said, I'd like to say thank you for joining us here today at the Print Media and Training Academy here. And do we have any questions from the outside?
Yes, Steve. Do you need to pre-treat the substrate?
Do we need to pre-treat the substrate? No, we don't. I know there's other manufacturers out there that have to buy pre-treated paper. We don't have to do anything with it.
Do you need to coat or laminate it afterwards?
So coating and laminating, no. Once that UV ink is dry, you can rub it and scratch it. It's not going to come off. I know some other manufacturers out there recommend putting a coating on or laminating. You still could do that with our process if you wanted to put a dull coat on the label, for instance, or you wanted it laminated, because that's what the customer requirements are. But you don't have to do that with the Gallus One.
All right. We've got another one. How much operator maintenance is there per day or per week?
So the operated maintenance, we talked about a little bit before, maybe once a week. Yeah, the web cleaner, you can just kind of pull that off like you do. Here's Andrew's going to open it up real quick. So it's a web cleaner. It's just like your lint roller at home. You just pull off the adhesive, push it back in. On the GPU, there's a lens that's over the LED lamps. You may want to take that on once a week, just wipe them down and put them in. They're protective for the LED lamps. This is probably, depending on how often you run, is just a container you'll have to take out with all the cleaner and dispose of that. I mean, that's pretty much it besides putting paper in and taking paper out. I mean, the whole design amount behind this machine was to have a 95% uptime for the customer. and the 5% of the time would be taking a roll off and putting a new one on. Because if you're running 230 meters a minute, you want to have the most uptime and most throughput. So I hope that answered that question.
It did. And anybody that has questions that's online right now, there's a Q&A function at the top of your screen. There's a small icon that says Q&A. Go ahead and click on that and enter in your questions if you have any. But another one came in. So should service be needed on the machine, who does that service?
Okay. So the service is done by Heidelberg USA. So the customer could call in here. We can do over the phone or schedule something to the customer. Or sometimes we can just handle the call over the phone and fix the equipment. So everything comes through us. All the parts come through Indianapolis, our American Logistics Center. We also have one in Germany. So if the part's not in Indianapolis, it'll come from Germany as well.
I think we've got one last question. Can you print over the top of pre-printed rolls?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Pretty simple there. All right. I think that's it, Steve.
That's it. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We try to keep it in that 15-minute time frame. We'll send you out a note afterwards with a link. If you have any questions for us, we can get back to you. I do appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for taking part in our Gallus One presentation.